Our last video here on principles of progression. Today we're talking about improving on dietary progression. Now with exercise progression, that makes sense. It's like over time you add reps, you add weight, you run faster, so blah, blah, blah. That makes sense. But we don't hear nearly enough about dietary progression. If anything, a lot of the ideas out there discourage it, because everything is so black and white and dogmatic about it. This is good food, this is bad food. Eat right, don't eat wrong. I'm being good, I'm being bad. Eat this, don't eat that. This creates a black and white world where you have to do things either right or doing things wrong. And it sounds good on paper, but as I mentioned in the first video I did on this progressive series, doing things correctly and right all the time actually can discourage progression and discouraging you from getting better results. Because I don't care how clean your diet is or how perfect it is, if it does not improve, you don't change. You're stuck wherever you're at. So hopefully you like where you are, because it's not going anywhere. But with progression and improvement over time, that gets us out of this trap of black and white, right and wrong, and we can infinitely get better and better. Now, how we do this, of course, you ask a million different people what a good diet is, and you get a million different answers. One man's superfood is the next man's junk food. So I've learned over the years, we can't rely on that stuff anymore. It's not necessarily right or wrong, it's just it's not reliable when there's so much debate out there. If someone says coffee's good and someone says coffee's bad, how are you supposed to make a decision? That's why in my book, Fitness Independence, I talk about let's, instead of trying to adhere to dietary dogmatic rules, let's actually pick habits that make us healthier. I know it kind of sounds a little but I don't care what the rules say. I don't care what the science says. If eating a certain way makes you look, feel, and perform better, that's better. And it doesn't matter if the science says that's not supposed to happen. Well, what's supposed to happen is worth about three beans and a beanstalk. If you're getting better results, that's all that really matters. So that's why I drafted up. We have 4 appetites. A progressive diet makes sure that you are further satisfying and getting better at satisfying those 4 appetites over time. It's not about adhering to rules. It's about actually satisfying you. Eating healthy versus eating right, in other words. The first appetite, of course, is hunger. So are you satisfying your hunger on a regular basis? Or are you hungry all the time and have all sorts of cravings? Number 2 is, of course, diet and nutritional satisfaction. Are you getting the stuff that you need? Fat, protein, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, water, antioxidants. Good stuff that helps you run better. Palatability and enjoyment of food. That's a big one. You can have the best diet from a nutritional standpoint, but if you're always craving sweets, it's still a shitty diet, because you're not satisfying yourself. Don't let these ideas out there say like, oh yeah, if you're fighting cravings and stuff, that means you've got to work hard at it. No, a good diet should get easier over time. If you're struggling to adhere to any sort of dietary rule, it's not a good fit for you. And then of course the last one is your energy level. How do you feel on the regular basis? A good diet should leave you feeling refreshed, not tired, lethargic, and hard to perform. This was a big thing with the low carb movement for a while. And people started to bring their carbohydrate levels down. A lot of times it felt great because they were consuming too much of it. But eventually, sometimes they brought it so low that they were like slugs, and they're like, I can't run for more than 5 minutes. I'm just dead on my feet. Well, you brought it too low. You bring it back up a little bit. So these 4 appetites are the things that we want to progress, or the satisfaction of the appetites, rather. We want to make sure our hunger is being tamed, we're enjoying our food and getting a lot of palatability from it, we're getting as much nutritional value as possible, and our energy level is good throughout the day. And if we can improve our ability to do those things, our diet will enhance and progress over time. Don't worry if your diet is right or wrong. If it's better, and that's the thing that matters. So a lot of times if someone's like, oh, I'm eating more vegetables, but they're not organic, they're not local, they're not this, they're not that. It's like, who cares? If you've gone from hardly eating any plant foods at all to having some form of fruit or vegetable with most of your meals, that's progression. That's progress. That's what matters. I don't care if they're not organic at this point. I don't care if it's like the optimal ratio or anything like that. If it's better than before, it's better. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. Because once you make that a habit, then you can make it better from there, and better from there, and better from there, in an endless cycle, and get even better results. So check out my book if you have more questions on that. Let me know if you have questions down below. Be fit, live free.